We're live now.
Man,
Yeah, it's
I don't
professional.
even know if I can find the intro video because my computer's jacked up.
Hey,
Ah,
how's
that
it going, y'all?
sucks.
We're professionals. Don't worry.
Yep.
Frick it, here we are. Welcome everybody to the Top of Thunder podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Hunsinger at Thunder Chats. We're part of the B League Network. This podcast brought to you by BetOnline.ag. Usually we have an intro video. We have the song playing, like it gives us time to get ready. I was going to go get a drink. That didn't happen. My computer got I got a block thrown at by Nova. It's literally got like half of it missing on the screen. So I can't see where the video is. So we're just going to roll with it. Vibes are high. Like vibes are immaculate could be because the Thunder just got the sweetest revenge that they could possibly get on the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight in what was dubbed by the NBA and Three Cone himself, the rematch. And we're here to talk about it. As the aforementioned Three Cone is here, future title parade attendee himself, the man, the myth, legend, the Underscone. What's up, Cone?
Not much, man. I'm feeling great. I don't think I could possibly feel better. No Hartenstein, and that sucked when that news came yesterday that he was going to be out for a week. But hey, it's always been next man up for this team. Having it Chet the entire year and still on pace for around 70 wins. And they just blew the doors off Cleveland. I mean, this game wasn't close outside literally after the first few minutes. It was just annihilation from start to finish. I don't think you could possibly feel better right now if you're a Thunder fan. So I'm pretty good.
Absolutely. As we said, vibes are high, and the vibes are high also in Gotham City, where we join Alex Roig from the Batcave. Alex, how are you doing, sir?
It was good to see. I finally got to see what a buzzsaw looks like, and it's a beautiful thing, man. That was a clinic, man. That was something that when you talk about a team locked in.
Yeah, they absolutely were locked in. It started to look like in the beginning like a lot like the game that we just played a week ago, where it was like very back and forth, like very just like the offenses are clicking on both sides, not a lot of defense, and then something happened. We could talk about it, as we get into the single large item. I'm sure it's going to come up, but yeah. Without further ado, we're gonna get into this game. We're gonna get into why we won this game and all the finer things about it. In the segment we call the single large item. So, single large item. I'm gonna go to Alex because Alex is gonna have to go before either of us. So I'm gonna give him the ceremonious first single large item of the game. Alex, what you got?
The posthumous first single large
No,
item.
not posthumous.
I just got to say, man, like big game Lou is a thing. Like Lugan's Dort steps up in these games all the time. Like Lou Dort seems to be the guy that hits that first 3-pointer that usually gets the run going. He usually hits, he usually makes the great defensive stop. He was keyed in today and locked in, and it was a beautiful thing, not just offensively, because let me tell you, whenever Lou Dort does this thing on the offensive end also, this team usually wins via blowout. But he held Donovan Mitchell to 8 points on 3 of 15 shooting. Like me and Dylan were talking before the podcast, and I've kind of started to become a degenerate like they are when it comes to gambling. And with that, so I bet a lot to not a lot. I'm not. My family's going to be okay. They're going to eat, but I bet some on thinking that this game was going to be competitive. So I bet on some hires for some Cleveland players and things like that. And I'm 100% glad that I lost those parlays. Like Lou Dort went out there and shut Donovan Mitchell down to where like I haven't seen Donovan Mitchell shut down before. Like I know the last game he also did a great job on him, but to hold Donovan Mitchell to 8 points, like my parlay was 14 and a half points Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
He could score 15 points getting, tripping out of bed, easily. And he held him to 8 points. Basically just a bystander in the second half. Like by 6 minutes left in the third quarter, Atkinson had already pulled him and Mobley and Allen out of the game. It was a performance, man. It was a performance. Lou Dort was out there doing things, crossing people up, doing mid-range pull-ups that he normally doesn't do, and that normally that we would be screaming no, 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 yes whenever he does them. But he was in his bag today, and he was the catalyst that got this game going and got this crowd going. And so, yeah, Lou Dort. I know Jerry is smiling ear to ear. Lou Dort.
He was there tonight.
Yeah, he was, and I know he was loving that, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, in case you don't see the stat, Lou Dort tonight passed someone who's famously known for shooting in career threes. Do y'all know who that player is?
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird. Lou Dort now has more career threes than Larry Bird at this point. So one of them is one of the best shooters of all time. The other guy is someone who played for the Celtics before I was born. Lou is, man, just one of like the best arcs of any player I've ever seen. When we talk about the beginning of his career in the bubble, and it's like the Rockets are leaving him open on purpose, and people are calling him maybe the worst offensive player in the entire NBA. And, you know, the up and downs with his finishing and his shot, continuously getting those reps. And now he's legitimately one of the better shooters in the NBA. And at the same time is one of the best defenders in the NBA. He absolutely should be on an all-defensive team. Just a special player, man. And it's crazy to see. We talk about like the Thunder developing all these guys. You know, you've got MVP candidates and all-stars, but Lou is probably one of the best like Thunder development stories that we've ever seen. And it's not just the Thunder's development program, it's Lou putting him to work continuously. And he was in all those trade rumors and like so much throughout his career up until this point. I don't want to ever see Lou Dort play for another team than the Oklahoma City Thunder. I want that man's number 5 hanging up in the rafters someday as one of the guys that helped contribute to this dynasty that hopefully we're able to put together at some point. But yeah, man. Oh, yeah. And then not only like the threes, Joseph just said in the chat, reminded me, that one like crossover midi he had on the baseline, I swore to God it was Shai for a moment, bro. It was nuts. I have never seen Lou Dort act like that. You know that one John Wall clip where he's like, I've never, ever seen you act like this before? That's Lou on a lot of occasions throughout the season, but specifically tonight. I don't know what happened if he's just like, I'm going to get my bag, we're up 30 on the other best team in the league. I'm just going to cook. But it was crazy, man. And then that 1-3 hit, it might have been the last one where the ball, like he kind of caught it and then actually dribbled it off his legs and like almost fumbled it out of bounds and then stopped. And he's like, oh, hey, I'm open. And then just drilled another 3. Man, I love that guy, man. It's just absolutely one of my favorite players in the league to watch. Thank God he's on our side.
Yeah, he was insane, man. That crossover on Ty Jerome, Thunder legend, UVA legend Ty Jerome, was just like filthy, man. We've seen Lou start to add a little bit to his bag this year. I remember he had a hezzy at some point in the season because I also freaked out about it, but that crossover was nasty. But yeah, talking about defensively, like just echoing what you said, Alex, I also said this, before the podcast, I tweeted this out. A lot of sports bettors, like on Twitter, like a lot of like the really popular Twitter guys had Donovan Mitchell like, it was nuts how many people had Donovan Mitchell scoring 30 plus. And I was just like, do you pay attention? Do you do research? And like, I did the research. I went back and looked at it. Donovan Mitchell has only scored more than 30 points on Lou Dort one time since Dort's been in the league. And he scored 43 that time. He must have been just like absolutely in fuego. I think he hit like 9 threes that game. Like when that's happening, there's not much you could do about it. But like all in all, Lou Dort guards Donovan Mitchell better than anybody in the league. And his last 2 games, he has he doesn't even have 20 points against Lou against Dort. He had 11 in the last game against Lou and in the game last week, and tonight he had 8. So I mean, just tip of the hat, man. Lou Dort showed up, showed out. Honestly, like the whole Thunder defense did, just like straight up. But Lou Dort is, as we know, like he's the tip of the spear on that, and he really set the tone defensively.
So I do want to add to that. These national spotlight games, these games that, the NBA has, over the past week has tweeted so much content in regards to the Thunder and the Cavs leading up to these games. So what this game probably did for SGA in regards to his MVP campaign, I think it might have done the same for Lou Dort for his either DPOY or all defensive team selection campaign for this season. Like I have found it a little bit disheartening that when you talk about some people talking about on Twitter where when they talk about their all defensive teams, J-Dub is on there, well deserved. Kaysen is on there, well deserved. But Lou usually gets the honorable mention treatment, and it kind of needs to be Lou Dort on that first team because every NBA player, every NBA wing, every great scoring NBA wing always says that Lou Dort is one of their hardest matchups, defensive matchups ever. And so I think this game hopefully helped the narrative to shift towards more positive, especially for NBA media, national media, and hopefully he gets his flowers at the end of the season in regards to his defensive performance.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about MVP moments. I was actually going to say the same thing before you brought it up. This is an all-defensive type moment for a number of guys on this team, and I think specifically Lou and J-Dub. I think there's a world where both of them finish on all-defensive first team this year. They'll at least be in the conversation. I'd be stunned if they aren't both on an all-defensive team. I think people have realized that J-Dub is 100% deserving of that, and the amount of like media members I've seen talk about like, how has Lou Dort never been on an all-defensive team? I think I said this on a previous podcast. All defense is one of those awards where you have to like build up this reputation before you finally get recognized. A lot of times it's like the year after you probably should have gotten it that you then also get it. Lou has built up that reputation for years. He's deserving. I mean, the Thunder, by the end of the season, probably are going to have statistically the best defense of all time, like when Chet returns and they continue to ramp things up. This is a historic unit. They deserve at least 2 all-defensive guys. It should have been 3 if Chet didn't get hurt. And, Ihart's now going to be ineligible and Alex Caruso's ineligible. Maybe Shai ends up on one of them, but I think it's probably more likely just Dub and Dort. I think Kaysen could get a little bit of consideration, but I don't know how his minutes are going to match up with some of the other guys. But I think if the season ended today, I would 100% have at least one of them, if not both of them, on my all-defensive first team. Wemby's 100% going to be on there. I think like Amin Thompson's going to be in that conversation, but I think then those 2 guys are like firmly in the discussion too amongst some of the better defenders in the league because of what they're doing. And that's been the big thing for Dub, who I want to give a shout to because it's like, he's had a few ups and downs offensively throughout the season, but the one thing that stayed the same is he is maybe the most versatile defensive wing in the entire sport at the moment. There's almost nobody who's doing what Dub has been doing on that defensive end, completely clamping up. And I don't think he gets a lot of the love sometimes from some people when they talk about this defense. It's like Caruso gets talked about and, they're like, oh, they don't even have Chet yet. And he's a crazy rim protector. And of course, Lou Dort and what Shai does. But Dub has been, like, in my opinion, the most integral cog to this defense. And it's crazy, man. Like, they're legitimately going to talk about this team's defense for, like, decades beyond now because of how good it is.
We need to win a championship.
We do need to win that, but I think I'm not going to say even without it because I think we're going to get it. But regardless, this is like they're making history. And by the way, the net rating now, it could have been higher if we didn't have that kind of, let them crawl back into it a little bit at the end. It's always what happens, man. But the net rating now is up to a 13. We have now joined the 95-96 Bulls as the only 2 teams ever to have above a 13. Wow. So nice. It's us at 13, them at 13.4, and then the team below us is the 96-97 Bulls at a 12. So we're 1 full point higher than the 3rd place team of all time right now. And it's not, it's only halfway through the season, so this might not hold, but Chad Holmgren's coming back at some point, and we kind of just did this to another team that was one of the only, I think the Cavs were, let's see, how many teams? Their net rating is down now, but they were one of only 14 teams ever with an above a 10. I don't think that number is that high anymore.
Nah, not at all. Fellas, probably Cone. Pay attention to the chat for me because I just sent you guys a video of what I'm looking at. My screen's slowly deteriorating, so like I'm losing.
Bro, more what the hell is going on? Oh my god.
It's bad. It's bad. So I'm gonna try to complete the podcast. But
you can't even see me. I've been erased by the great like incoming static.
Yeah, there's a non-existent GoFundMe for Dylan to get a new computer. So
hey, we can make that existent.
Please do.
I need to tweet that video out. Like, please help. Just get me a $200 Chromebook at this point. But yeah, all right, back to the pod. Let's go you, Cam. What do you want for your single large item?
There's a lot of places I can go. I'm trying to decide if I want to just go with the guy, or if I want to talk about I guess I could just go with the guy. So let's go with the best player on this team, Brendan Carlson. Huge game for him on this one.
Your twin.
Literally had people tweeting at me asking how I was.
Smart guy take.
Yeah, I was literally having people tweet at me asking about, how I'm able to tweet and also be on the court hitting threes at the same time. I had a friend text me and they're like, "Who the hell is B. Carlson and why does he have 2 threes against the Cavs?" I actually do want to talk about Shai, but real quick, I will shout out Brandon Carlson because he came in the first quarter and it's like, all right, we'll see what he can do, and he was legitimately awesome. Like in those minutes, man, he was competing with the 2 bigs. He was doing a great job of deterring guys away from the rim, staying vertical, not getting into foul trouble, hit those 2 threes. Like, we're just like 37 players deep, it feels like on some nights. But yeah, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We're not talking about the best season in the NBA right now because I think most people have realized that. I haven't even checked what the MVP odds have moved to, but I would be shocked if they're not firmly in his favor. Yeah, it's -200 in some places, -330 in one spot right now. He's running away with it at this point, and it's deserved. Shai should 100% be the MVP, but it's not just that. We're seeing one of the best guard seasons of all time, genuinely, and he's right now I don't think there are many guard seasons I would take outside of 2016 Curry over what Shai is doing right now. You can talk about some of those Kobe and Harden and Wade seasons and guys like that. And of course, Russ had that monster one. But Shai has entered that type of echelon with the numbers that he's putting up, the 2-way
Michael
impact.
Jordan.
Michael Jordan. He's going to join Jordan as one of only 3 guards to ever average 30 points per game or higher on 50% shooting or better from the field in 3 straight seasons. So he's about to join him on that front. Right now, he's the league leader in scoring. Tonight had 40
and the league leader.
And the league leader, he's doing that as well. Get you a player that can do both. 40 points, 3 boards, 8 assists, 2 steals, all defensive conversations. And Cleveland couldn't do anything. It didn't matter who they threw at him. And this team's a top 10 defense. There was not an answer. And there has not been an answer for Shai the entire season. Last year, Luke, or this season, Shai, DC, give me Shai. There is legitimately nothing you can do against Shai at this point. If he misses, it's probably just because he missed. Outside of that one Karis LeVert block on that midi, which was actually kind of crazy how quickly he got up to that ball.
Yeah.
You don't see a shot get blocked. You don't see Shai get deterred ever. It's just bump midi over and over and over again. He has to be one of the single most frustrating players to watch if you're an opposing fan. And it's not because of the free throws, because he only had 5 of those tonight. And like you said in the post-game interview, he doesn't need them. But it's just you have to be asking yourself, does this guy miss? And they're oh, just kick him out of the mid-range. Try that, try this. But it really doesn't matter. There's nothing you can do. You can have 2 of the best rim protecting defensive bigs in the league in Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley, and he's going to just go right around them. He's going to avoid the contact. He's going to finish with an and one. He's going to get the switch and bully somebody. There is no way you can guard Shai at this point. You just can't. And that's the separator for, the Thunder have a historic defense and all this other great talent. But in a lot of these series, Shai is going to be the separator because there are very few, if any, teams that we're going to face that'll have a player even close to as good as Shai is. It's just crazy how we had an MVP in Kevin Durant. James Harden, of course, we traded him away. He won an MVP. We had an MVP in Russell Westbrook. And the second we trade away that last MVP, we get an MVP in return. How often does that ever happen in league history? It doesn't. It's never happened. So appreciate what we're witnessing because, again, we are not just witnessing the best season in the NBA right now, the best guard season easily in the league at the moment. We're witnessing one of the best guard seasons ever. And a player that, after this year and he wins the MVP, his Hall of Fame case is already sealed. Few All-NBA teams, historic numbers. He's going to have an MVP in his trophy case after this year. When he wins a title, that's only going to solidify it more. He's about to be a Hall of Famer, and he's, 26 years old? Mm-hmm. He's going to end up as one of the greatest guards ever played a game. So just appreciate that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And talking about just how dominant he was, he scored, 32, 33 against the Cavs in the last game? Mm-hmm. But it was different. It wasn't efficient. He did get to the free throw line a good handful of times. This time was different. This was a truly dominant performance because he shot 17 to 26 from the field. So 65% from the field goal, which is just nuts. Only had 5 trips to the line, only made 1 3, and he got 40 points off of that. Like the scoring is just so effortless, man. He was getting to his midi, he was falling into it, falling away from it. He was getting out in transition. He literally dunked all over Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell on a fast break when I thought he was about to lob it to Dub. And then I was like, oh no, he's gonna go for the lay. And he just kept going up. I was like, Shai doesn't do that. Shai doesn't dunk on people. And it's crazy because he was mic'd up and, TNT had, different sound bites of him throughout the game. But there was a point, he finished the first quarter with, I believe, 18 points? Or it was 16 or 18 points. 15. It was 15? Okay, yeah. So it wasn't either one of those. Yeah.
It was 15, and the Cavs in the first quarter had 14, in case you were wondering.
Yeah. Yeah, he finished the first quarter 15 points. He ripped off, a bunch straight. And, after one, really tough midi, he just, screamed. Just visceral, guttural scream. And then it showed, 3 other clips of him just, screaming. And you could tell, man, Shai wanted this one bad. Mm-hmm. Whether it was because he knew this was on national television and this is, good for the MVP, whether he knew it was because he wanted to get his get back against Cleveland after the last game, or whether he knew he had to step up because Isaiah Hartenstein was out. We didn't have, our good big men out there. Whatever it was, Shai was up for this game, and he just absolutely tore the roof off of it. I had to explain to Chelsea, I was like, I just want to conceptualize this for you because I don't think you understand. It's considered really good when somebody gets 40 points in a regulation NBA game. Shai just got 40 points in 3 quarters. And honestly, he could have got more if he wasn't trying to just hit that last 3 to just blow the roof off the building and prompt the Cavs to call timeout. He tried 3 or 4 times to hit that 3 and he couldn't get it to fall. But
it wasn't even just 3 quarters. It was less than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Minutes. 40 points and 65% shooting in less than 30 minutes.
Just nuts.
Light work.
And still spreading the ball around. 8 assists, only turned the ball over 2 times, 4-to-1 assist turnover ratio.
Honestly, beyond the nonstop buckets, that's one of the things that I felt really showed today and has shown a lot throughout the season. Shai's vision has completely skyrocketed over the course of his career. And I mean, just right now, it just feels like he's in a zone. He can just see every part of the court at every moment. There are multiple times in this game where he drove in and the Cavs flashed 3 guys to him to try and get the ball out of his hands and force him into a turnover. And he immediately jumps in the air and is able to flip the ball around to somebody on the perimeter. And one of those 2 turnovers that he had, by the way, was the one where he threw between J-Will and Kaysen, and both of them could have caught it, but they thought the other one was going for it. So they kind of just both stood there. He just never turns the ball over. It just feels like he never makes mistakes. And it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
I mean, for the game, it was 21-7 as far as turnovers go.
Which the Thunder generate a lot of them. Are we still – I know we fell back underneath in the steal to turnover ratio game.
We had 12 steals today and 7 turnovers.
Okay, so we made up some ground again. I'm going to see if I can find it.
So whenever I see DC's question of last year's Luka versus this season's Shai, I always, my answer to that is Lou Dort still exists. And I don't think there's a Lou Dort for Shai yet. And so that's why I would pick this season's Shai, is because Lou Dort still exists. We saw what happened whenever Lou Dort got matched up with Luka. It made his life, incredibly difficult. There are people that they say are Shai stoppers, Herb Jones, players like that, Jaden McDaniels. But no, he's still getting 30 on them pretty consistently. So, yeah, this season Shai, last season Shai. Give me all of them.
See, that's the thing about Shai and Shai stoppers. It's the first couple of times you play Shai, if you're built that way, you might be able to stop him. You might be able to hold him down. But once he figures you out, it's over. Isaac Okoro used to be a matchup problem for Shai. He's driving right by him whenever he wants to.
Dean Wade was a problem.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. There are very few scores I've ever watched. I'm younger than you guys. I'm younger than probably a lot of people watching the podcast. So I haven't seen some of the score. Well, I'm just saying I haven't I tweeted out earlier that Shai's one of the best scorers I've ever seen. And some people are like, oh, you're crazy. A lot of people agree with me. I think most people are starting to come to the light that this is true, that we're not, just hyping him up. It's just the reality of the situation. But like, I can't think of anybody I've ever seen that just he plays you once. Like against the Cavs last game, he was not his most efficient. And then he comes out and just annihilates them, just literally eviscerates one of the best defenses in the league with a lot of good defenders on this team. Like there's no hope for them. There are very few players I've ever seen that can just like, they see you once and it's like, okay, I figured you out. Like I just know what I'm supposed to do now.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just absolutely nuts, man.
It legitimately feels Kobe-esque at times, like some of the stuff that he's doing out there.
And that's the thing. Like, so, you were talking about age. You were talking about, I'm a lot younger than you. And so I grew up, but I grew up with Michael Jordan. But a lot of like the Twitter generation, they grew up with Kobe. And it feels good to look on Twitter, especially whenever Shai's having these types of games and saying, people saying, oh my God, like this is Kobe of this, of this generation, of this era. And it's awesome to hear that because Kobe was the Michael Jordan of his era. And so it's just like kind of translating back down to like Jordan to Kobe to Shai, like those, athletic shooting guards that can kill you from the mid range, can take it out, can kill you from deep and can take you to the hole. It's just good to see that, man, because Shai is getting to be that kind of player.
And I think, and along that too, the recognition is coming. I mean, today the third and final like fan results came through before voting ends, and Shai is over 500,000 votes ahead of the next guard. Like it's crazy. He is blowing Steph Curry out of the water, and the game's in like San Francisco. It's a Bay Area All-Star game. And I know Steph's not having his best season or anything, but he's got more votes than some of the most popular players of all time. I think it really feels like Shai is broken through. And I want to give a shout out to the NBA. Like they've been pushing this Thunder Cavs thing and like the Thunder. And I'm 100% sure the Thunder will be on Christmas Day next year. I'd be stunned if they weren't. And
my gosh.
Also there was a stat today on the broadcast. I think it was Jared Greenberg who brought it up that Shai has entered top 15 in jersey sales for the first time in his career.
Oh, wow.
Like, he is now top 15 in NBA jersey sales. So the brand is rising very, very quickly. And I think people are realizing how good he is. And I know there's been a lot of still the free throw merchant stuff, but I feel like it's died a lot. I just don't think at this point, like it's even the trolls don't even have the heart in them to like hate on what we're witnessing right now. So it's been cool to see.
It's like, man, like if you just look at like, forget watching the game. Like, if most of the people that call him a free throw merchant, like box score watch anyways, go look at the box score tonight, man. He had 40 points and shot 5 free throws. Like, he's still at 35 with no free throws. And, a million people have said it, but like you take away every free throw he's made this year, he still leads the league in total points. Like he's not a free throw merchant. He's a bucket merchant. That's all it is, man. He's getting buckets on anybody. So
let me answer this question from DC. Do you think his numbers, I'm guessing he's talking about Shai, will dip a tiny bit whenever Chet returns from injury? So let me go ahead and answer that question for you, because every offseason and every beginning of every season, I think that Shai's numbers are going to dip a little bit because of the increased production from Chet, because of the increased production from J-Dub, and it doesn't. It only keeps going up. And so I think whenever Chet comes back, it's a situation where Chet has to adjust to SGA, doing what he does. And adjust is a harsh word. Like he doesn't have to adjust. Like this is the Shai that he's been playing with his entire career. And so he's just going to go in there and, keep doing what he's doing. Like Shai's not doing this because Chet is out. Shai has always done this, since he's become the player that he's become over the past 4 years.
Yeah, like I think the numbers they could like drop a little bit, like maybe a couple less points per game, but like Shai always gets his. And that's the thing, like he's always going to get 30. It doesn't matter who's out there. He pretty much just always like tunes his game a little bit. He's like, okay, I'll need to score as much, so I'll get 31 tonight as opposed to like 35. And I mean, he's just so consistent. That's the thing with him. It's not like he's one of those guys where some nights he's going to go off for 50, but other nights you might get like a 21-point game or like 22, and then he'll settle somewhere in the middle for his season. Shai's going to give you like 30 to 40 pretty much every single night. And that's another thing too that's super unique about him. Like just the consistency is almost unprecedented. I can't think of anybody that I've ever watched that just puts up these numbers so consistently on this type of efficiency just every single night. It's legitimately insane how like every night you're like, oh yeah, Shai's going to get 30. He's going to shoot around 50% or better from the field. He's going to have a couple of steals. He's going to have like 5-6 dimes. It's just every single night he's going to do the same thing. And in these big games where you need him to turn up even more, he's going to turn up even more. That's crazy that we didn't have Isaiah Hartenstein tonight. And I was still like, Shai could go off for like 40. We could still win this thing. And that's exactly what happened. Also, Brendan Carlson went off too. So shout out to the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the thing with Shai, man, like, you're talking about like, his consistency and, with the argument of consistency, people used to be like, well, like Shai drops 30 every night, but like, Luka or somebody like that could have like a 20 and then he'll drop 40 or he'll drop 60 or like, he'll have like these huge spike games. Shout out Brandon Raybar, friend of the pod. He tweeted this out tonight. Shai has sat 9 games, 9 fourth quarters this season because of it has been a blown out. I don't know about all those games, but I know tonight he had 40 and 3/4. The other night he had 39 and 3/4 against the Knicks. Like Shai's had opportunities to like, people like to rag on his career high being only 45 points. Like Shai has had many opportunities to push past that career high, to break into the 50-point mold. There's been nights he's been so scorching. He probably could score 60 if we needed him to. But the team is built as such that we don't need that. Like he could be like this, like just point explosion guy. Like he could be the guy that is turning heads, that is on the top of every talk show's list. Like he could be that guy, but he doesn't have to be. And so people kind of sleep on him a little bit. And I think he's fine with people sleeping on him. Like he's going to go out there. He's going to make a name for himself. It's like, it's a, if kind of scenario. And more people are starting to learn. More people are starting to know.
I just saw a stat. I haven't validated it, but it sounds possible. I was trying to validate it real quick, but Shai right now is shooting 59.8% from 2 on the season. 59.8%.
It's crazy.
Shaquille O'Neal's best season with the Lakers, he shot 58.4% from 2.
Oh my God,
man!
So a mid-range scorer, a 6'6" guard, is currently shooting better from 2 than Shaq did in any of his best seasons. So,
wow.
Yeah. In case you're wondering how it's going right now.
That's greatness. That's greatness that people don't know how to quantify.
When he gets to his spots in the mid-range, if he misses, I'm shocked.
It's crazy. Like Shai will like jump up and there'll be a defender with their hand in his face and he'll just wait for them to fall a little bit and just like hold it here for a moment and then let it go. And those shots I also always expect to go in just every single time.
The baseline behind the backboard shots that he's been doing over the past couple of games, like that.
I swear he's never missed a shot from behind the backboard. I swear he's never missed it.
That's what's nuts is he can literally alter the arc in his shot depending on what he needs to and still make it. Like that, like the ones you're talking about, Cone, where like the defender like jumps up with him. He just hangs just a little bit longer and he lets go. Like that shot's a little bit flatter, still goes in. Alex, the behind the backboard shot, those are like straight moon balls and they just drop straight in the net. It's crazy how he changes the trajectory of his arc depending on how the defense is. He's able to adapt to that and still be this lethal and this efficient. It's just absolutely nuts, man.
He's the real lethal shooter.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, after, about 40 minutes almost, I'm going to get to my single large item, I guess. And, as we like to do on Top of Thunder, the last person in single large item just gets to talk about everybody. So I'm mainly just going to talk about the bench. I think the bench really stepped up in a big way tonight, like top to bottom. First of all, Isaiah Joe came in, stayed hot. He hit 2 threes early. I think like right there in the first quarter, he hit 2 threes. He hit another one later on. He finished with 12 points, had 4 or 7 from the 3-point line. Brandon Carlson, again, like, we joked about him. We memed about him. Legitimately,
shout out, man.
Legitimately changed the trajectory of this game. All right. I went back and looked while you guys were talking. The Thunder were down 12-11. Shai was in the middle of free throws whenever Brandon Carlson first checked in. So Shai made the free throw after Carlson checked in. It was a tie game. After that, the Thunder went on a 20-2 run. And in that 20-2 run, Brandon Carlson hit 2 threes, and he played great defense, like legitimately good defense inside on Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Like, I was absolutely shocked. But
it's almost like we had another 7-footer on the bench.
Bro, it's crazy how just like, I mean, like Brandon Carl, he legitimately came in and changed the game, and it's so cool, man. And I mean, this Thunder team, just the depth is crazy. Like, if it's not like, I saw someone tweet out and they were like, "Did the Thunder just spawn in a new guy to face off against us?" It was a Cavs fan. They were like, legitimately, did this guy just appear out of thin air? Sam Presti snapped his fingers, and there was just a dude coming out there to hit a couple of threes. Like, it just, I don't understand it, man. Also, by the way, that stat about Shai and Shaq is 100% accurate, by the way. I just fact checked.
Very nice.
Wow.
Fat check, kind of like it. Yeah. What's crazy is we waived Brandon Carlson like a week ago, and we brought him back on a 10-day.
He's on a 10-day and was out there cooking a team that's on pace for 70 wins, bro. It's nuts.
Two all-star, like, two big men who deserve to be all-stars.
Exactly. Out there cooking 2 guys who probably going to be all-stars.
Yeah, and then the other guy on the bench, like, there was some other performances, they're just like solid, but like stand out. Alex Caruso, second game back after injury, 10 points, didn't miss a shot, was 3 of 3 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3. I think those 2 threes were also in the first quarter. I think he was in like the unit with Brandon Carlson and Shai. Could be second quarter. I'm not 100% sure, but was shooting confidently, was going absolutely crazy. There was a play, I think it was like right before halftime, in which Cleveland missed the ball. And before that ball hit the rim, Caruso was already tracking the trajectory of it, of where it was going to bounce off the rim, was in the air as soon as the ball hit the rim, and was able to grab the ball before anybody got it, like create the defensive rebound. And I don't even remember who scored for us on the other end, but he was able to create an opportunity for a bucket for the Thunder, like there at the end of the game. And it's like, obviously we won by 20 points. Should have been 40 points. Shout out Adam Flagler. But those are the types of plays that win big games. Like, this is a big game, and yes, like we didn't need it in terms of like the point differential, but like those are winning plays, and those are the ones that like kind of go by the wayside, but like when you see them, it's inspiring. And like when the guys on the team see them, it inspires them to want to go make the same plays. And Caruso, a lot of people have made jokes, especially like the box score watchers, about how the Thunder have lost the trade. And people have talked about, Caruso's health concerns and, how he isn't able to finish a season, whatever. Like, the Thunder have brought in a legitimate veteran who knows how to play, who is going to go out there and play his absolute heart out, set an example for the rest of the team. And he's been essential to this run.
Did y'all hear the thing that they were talking about in the broadcast about Alex Caruso and his minutes? I think it was Jared Greenberg was saying that. I can't remember if he said he talked to Mark Daigneault or he heard, or like they heard it from somewhere, but apparently the Thunder are going to look to limit Alex Caruso's minutes as much as they can the rest of the way to try and keep him healthy for the playoffs. Which I'm good with.
That. Yeah,
which I think is a good call. He's dealt with a couple of hip injuries. I think one to both, to like either hip. I don't think the injury he was dealing with is a re-injury. I believe it was a different hips. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, today the impact he made, literally 14 minutes, 10 points, a rebound, 2 assists, 3 steals, and the bald eagle took flight. That dunk that he threw down was crazy. Like, he just rose up, slammed it home, did this thing with his headband. Also super cool to see. After, I think it was end of the third quarter, and like the fans were giving them a standing ovation, and Caruso like held out the OKC on his chest and was going like this, which is cool to see, man. It's just, he's always been such a fun, like, winning player, and to see him now like playing for this Thunder team, it's just super cool, man. Like, he's one of those guys that I was always like, damn, he'd be really cool in a Thunder jersey. Like, he would do so much for this team. Here he is, and it was the same thing with Hartenstein. Here he is going crazy. So yeah, man, we built a hell of a team.
I think tonight, just kind of looking at the stats and looking at how they played and looking at the result of the game, was one of those games where that Boston Celtics model of like lots of threes being shot, and you have one or two guys that are like your offensive engines, and they're the ones that kind of set everybody up, and everybody's able to hit threes. Everybody that's on the floor is able to hit threes and things like that. I think tonight was one of the best examples of us taking that that type of offensive scheme and kind of like showing out in a game for it, because we attempted 53 threes. Like, that's the most this season. Like, we had another game where we attempted 53 threes. I believe it was the San Antonio one that we lost, and we did not shoot very well in that one. But we shot 18 of 53, and that's 34%. It's not, when you're looking at percentages, that's not the greatest. But if you're attempting 53 and you're making 18, that's a lot of points right there from the 3-point line. And so that's offensive defense. And so for a player like Shai, if you're having players out there hitting threes and you're cooking yourself, like, that's a recipe for what happened tonight. For them to go up 42 points in the third quarter against, the best team in the NBA, quote unquote.
Yeah. Well, if you take out Flagler's 3-point attempts, we shot 40% from three. Just saying.
I felt so bad for Flag at the end, man. Like, he is a good shooter, and you see the G all the time, man. It felt like he was, throwing them up, which good, get your shots up. And they just like kept rimming out and like barely missing and a little bit off to the side. And you could see he was getting frustrated, man. Feel bad for the guy, but
he just became a father, so I think that might be that.
He's getting the nerves out a little bit. Which congratulations to Adam Flagler, by the way. That's awesome.
Yes, sir. The little flag.
Yeah, man. I saw Andrew Schleck tweet out that wave the victory Flagler, which I thought was hilarious at the end of this game. Did y'all see Ray Barr's tweet about J Will when he got kicked in the groin area?
I did.
Hitting his J Willie. That's hilarious, man. That's actually insane. Shout out to Ray Bar. But yeah, I had something to say. I mean, I feel like this team's 3-point shooting has really been coming along as of late. I don't know where we're at. I'm gonna check where we moved it to in the 3-point shooting. It still says we're at 19th. I don't know if these numbers have updated yet, because that's where we've kind of been, is around 19th. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I feel like this team's shot is coming back around. I know Kaysen has really been hitting a lot of them recently. I don't even know. Did he shoot a single three tonight? It didn't feel like he did.
He was 0 of 1 from 3 tonight.
Okay, he only took 1 3. But like Lou, his shots continue to come along, and Caruso's been hitting a lot more recently, and Zay's been on a bit of a heater. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, the team's getting their shot back around. And the big thing with the Thunder too, that makes them even a better fit for like that Celtics model, is just Shai is a better offensive engine than the Celtics have. Like, Tatum's awesome. I'm one of the people that thinks Tatum is underrated by a lot of people, but he's not the offensive engine that Shai is. And Shai is just able to so easily, as that automatic paint touch, generate all these looks. And we, our shooters are still coming along. We don't have the 3-point shooting that the Celtics did last year, where you've got Derek White and Drew and KP and all these guys. But when the Thunder are on fire, like, if we're hitting our threes, there's basically nothing you can do, because defensively, on that end, you don't stand a chance going up against this team's defense. Your only hope is that they're missing shots. You get out in transition a little bit to break up that half-court defense. And if we're hitting our shots and you can't get out and run, there's like nothing you can do. So that's really the thing, is if these guys continue to shoot, if like the shot keeps coming around, I legitimately don't think anybody has a chance of beating this team. The only thing that could happen is if the Thunder go kind of cold again in the playoffs and the shot's not falling, and then it's like, how much does Shai have to shoulder the load? But even then, now we have one of the best defenses ever to help him out a little bit. It's just, this team has a lot of margin for error because of how good and talented the guys are.
It's funny we talk about it over the offseason as just kind of like a meme of like, the best player is going to be like, a sigh of relief whenever Lou Dort checks out, and it's like, Alex Caruso and Kaysen Wallace is there. Well, we saw a representation of it tonight. It wasn't checking out, but I think it was on an offensive rebound scramble. Lou Dort was trying to get the ball to like get out in transition. Donovan Mitchell got the ball, and Dort ended up behind him, and Mitchell kind of let him catch up to him, and then he blew by him. As soon as he blew by him, guess who was there to wall him up? Alex Caruso. And of course, I think it took him down to the shot clock, like 2 seconds left in the shot clock, and he tried doing a Shai and shooting and get behind the backboard. Did not work out. And it was just really funny, because we talked about it all offseason. It was literally like blew by Lou, got walled up by Caruso. Welcome to hell, Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean that one. I think, are you talking about the play where he got trapped in the corner?
I think so. It was in like the second quarter, I think.
Yeah. That was, I want to go back and find where that happened. I'm going to take a picture of it and just tweet out that picture with the caption, "This is what hell is like."
Yeah.
Like when you are trapped in the corner or like that baseline with Alex Caruso and Lou Dort there and like the backboards in front of you, that legitimately has to feel like the most suffocating feeling of all time. There's literally nothing you can do at that moment.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of nicknames for Caruso, but there's one that I started calling him tonight, and I'm just going to stick with it. And I got to give a shout out to my guy M'Baku for it. I don't know if you can hear it very well.
No, what is that?
He said, "You bald-headed demon."
Bald-headed what?
Oh man, Caruso's got a great selection of nicknames: the Bald Mamba, the Bald Eagle.
Mm-hmm.
It just the bald gets you.
Keeping it simple, AC.
Yeah, man, the bald gets you some aura.
Yeah, no, he was sensational, and he's one of the more important players on the Thunder. And whenever we get into the playoffs, like he is going to be playing more minutes. That's kind of what I've been saying like all along about why he's been coming off the bench. Because Alex, good to talk to you, brother. Take it easy, brother. Thunder up.
Take care. Thunder.
But like back in the offseason, everybody's making projections like Caruso's going to start. Or he's going to be the sixth man, and like he's not that. He's kind of been like the 9th or like 10th man. So sometimes. And I've kind of said all along that I think that they are trying to play him, to keep him fresh, keep him in rhythm, but they're trying to hold him back because as much as we love those winning plays that Caruso makes, he also makes some very risky winning plays that puts his body on the line a little bit. And, we kind of got to protect him from himself some. So they're trying to, pull back the reins to keep him fresh for the playoffs. And I think once we get to the playoffs, I think that they are just going to empty the clip on Caruso. Like he could start. I don't know. I don't know what, the team is looking at in terms of like starting lineup when Chet gets back, what they're wanting to do, but he could start. I think he's definitely going to close some games, but I think that we're going to see a lot more Alex Caruso in the playoffs.
I agree. And that's the thing with the Thunder too is like, we talked about always they were going to have this flexible starting lineup, and I'm super interested to see what it looks like when Chet comes back. I imagine we kind of ease him back into things. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some Chet off the bench at times if we wanted to, just because now we have iHeart, or maybe it's like Chet plays the first few minutes and then iHeart comes in, or I don't know. I'm just so excited to see what this team looks like when Chet comes back because of all the lineups you can throw out there. And even right now with, the way that AJ was playing, he made things more complicated. I just don't know how the Thunder continuously find just nonstop really, really good players. It's crazy, man. It's a pretty good team. There's one more guy I wanted to give a shout out to. I can't remember who it was. Who was it? I think we talked about everyone. Shout out to Ooze. Ooze came in and hit a shot, and then I think he was getting his finger wrapped. So hopefully everything's okay with Ooze's finger there. I saw someone in the chat say, asking what our total win prediction was, which I wanted to ask you about. Where do you think we end up at this point? Right now, we're on pace to win. We are 36-6? 34-6. Sorry, I jumped ahead a couple of games. We'll be there in a couple of games. It'll be fine. So we have a 0.85 win percentage. We're on pace for 69.7 wins. So if we win next game, we'll probably be on pace for 70. Where do you think we end up? I saw you tweet out and you were like, is it no longer like taboo or crazy to say that we win 70 games? And I'm willing to see what you say.
Yeah, no more hyperbole here. I'm kind of looking. I think we run the rest of January. Like I'm not worried about January at all. Like we play the Mavs tomorrow. No Luka. I think that we've had some trouble with that in the past, but I think that we're playing on a different level of focus than we have in the past as well. So I feel confident in that. The next month after that, February, like before the All-Star break, post All-Star break, the only game that I'm kind of worried about, not really worried about, but like, they're a good team is the Grizzlies. If they're healthy, of course, they always got something to say, but I don't know, man, like kind of looking at the rest of the schedule, like January was really the month that we had to look at in terms of like, our big competition because like we're top of the West. Like, you know, like I don't look at the Rockets or like the Grizzlies or the Nuggets or any of these guys. Like I'm worried about them because we're so far ahead of them. The East is just like, you know, I wanted to use that as a measuring stick. And we lost one game against the top 3 teams in the Eastern Conference.
We have one since December 1st. We have one, or since we lost that game to the Rockets on December 1st. After that, we have one regular season loss,
and it's by 8 points, like combined.
To the team that we just beat by like, or would have beaten by like 40, but ended up beating by like 25 because the guys play at the end, the bench guys.
Or not 8, like I think it was 9 because we lost to the Cavs by 7 and the Rockets by 2 or 3.
We lost to the Rockets by, I think it was 2.
I think. Yeah, 103.
No, it was 3.
It was 3.
There's 119 to 116, actually. More points than I remembered in that game.
Yeah. So we lost 2 games since December 1st and by a combined point margin of 10. We are getting Isaiah Hartenstein back next week. We're getting Chet Holmgren back probably post All-Star break. I'm going to go ahead and say, man, I think we can win 70 games. I think if that's something that is important to the team, we can win 70 games. Now, there is a chance that we lock up the 1 seed like halfway through March. I don't know. Like, I mean, what's our point or margin right now between the Rockets?
The Rockets right now are losing to the Kings. So if that continues the way that it's going, it'll move us to 7 games, I believe, ahead of them. Yeah, because we're at right now 34-6. Yeah, they're 6.5 back. If they lose, they'll be down to 7 back. And they're down 7 at the moment to the Kings. So could come back, but we'll see.
Am I crazy? Like, could you see like Mark resting guys, like, you know, some of these like second night of back-to-backs or some of these lower like games?
I don't think we will until like
April,
April-ish. Then I could definitely see it. Like, I think Chet will rest games 100%. I think they'll want to get him back to game speed and he'll be playing, but I think they'll also be down to rest him. I wouldn't be surprised if Shai like gets to sit a game at the end. Didn't we sit guys that last game last year?
I think everybody in the league did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone did, but I was trying to remember if we did. I think
I don't think we did because we were in that 3-way tie for the 1 seed.
Oh yeah, you're right. We were. Yeah, we had to win. So okay. Yeah, but I mean, there will be no competition for the 1 seed by the time that we're done.
Yeah.
So, like, I think we will rest some guys at the end. Like, I could see Shai and Dub and Chet and iHeart, Caruso for sure getting some rest and, you know, more minutes for some of the young guys. Maybe AJ's back at that point. That would be awesome to see him get some more run with an extended leash at the end. I think that's the way it goes. And honestly, that's the reason I don't think we win 70 games. I think if we played everybody every night, we would have a very strong case. I'm forever going to think about what this team's record could have been if Chet didn't get hurt. Because I don't know, man. I don't think 73-9 was out of the realm of possibility.
I'm saying, man. They called me.
I'm not saying we were going to get there. But I don't think it was impossible. DC FNF just said in the chat, do you guys think this is the best Thunder team we've seen by far? Yes, absolutely. I saw people talking about it, and they were like, is this the best Thunder team ever, or is it still like, you know, the 2015-16 team? And this team is absolutely better than that squad. Katie, Russ, Ibaka, like those guys, awesome. But like the Thunder leaving Andre Roberson open all day, and it's just clank after clank after clank. Like that team, as much as I love Steven Adams, I don't think he's gonna be able to keep up with guys on the perimeter. You get a switch, and it's just like barbecue chicken. This team is better than that team. It is. So I don't even think that's really that much of a discussion. For me,
who was like the 6th man on that team? I'm trying
like Deion Waiters.
Oh yeah. So we had Deion Waiters off the bench. Did we have who was the backup point guard on that team?
Campaign.
Yes, God, Campaign, Deion Waiters. Like we might have gone like 7 or 8 deep or something like that. But like, how many numbers deep are we on this team? Like we just had Brendan Carlson just go in and like play legitimate minutes. Are we like 12, 13 deep at this point?
That's how it feels some nights. And like, if I go back to like our 2015-16 team, if I go to their schedule, let me go to the playoffs, like the last game against the Warriors. The rotation was, yeah, man. It's KD, it's Russ, it's Serge, it's Roberson, it's Adams, and then off the bench, it's 31 minutes for Deion Waiters and 9 minutes for Ennis Freedom. Ennis Cantor, whatever.
Yeah.
Randy Foy played 5 seconds in 2015-16, man.
Randy Foy.
Like, man, it is not. Love that team. One of my favorite teams ever. I don't think they would stand a chance against this squad, especially with Chet back. People need to remember they were doing all of this without Chet Holmgren playing, who was playing at an all NBA level before he got hurt. This team is adding an all NBA level player back at some point. So
yeah. I really don't think people remember. Like, it's been so long. I don't think people remember what Chet was doing at the beginning of the season.
I don't think they do. And the thing is, people look at his stats and they're misleading in the negative direction because his last game he played 5 minutes and didn't record anything. So it says he's averaging like around 16 points. He was actually averaging like 19 before he got hurt, but it dropped because he played that one game and point per game averages don't care about your minutes. So
yeah, so
if you're like 19 and 10 and like 3 blocks.
So he was averaging 18.2, 9.2, 2.2 assists, 3 blocks, almost a steal, so 4 stocks. He was shooting 51.9% from the field, 40% from 3-point line.
Like, that guy is coming back to this team.
I'm 4 attempts a game too.
Shout out to 2015-16, man. Shout out to like the Thunder team that went to the finals. This is clearly the best Thunder team of all time. And I think there's a real case that Shai's having the best season by a Thunder player ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like individually, like, you know, we can't take away from Russ Westbrook. Like, the triple-double season was awesome. What he was able to do to carry that team was ridiculous. But I mean, from an efficiency standpoint, like what Shai's doing as a guard, like he's putting up, he's besting big men at efficiency as a guard. And not just because he's getting to the rim. Like, you know, people remember like the rookie season for Jalen Williams whenever he had like that crazy field goal percentage and a lot of his buckets were like right there at the rim. Like, Shai is shooting middies all over the place. Like, he's shooting 3-pointers. Like, I think I need to track that, actually. I was trying to track that earlier in the season. I think he shot more 3-pointers already this year than he did last year.
I'm pretty sure you're right. I'll double check, but that feels right.
Yeah, because like he's shooting a lot more, and like his field goal percentage could go even higher up if he was shooting like last year's volume. But like, he's trying to add that to his game, and he's still putting up ridiculous efficiency while trying to add that to his game.
Actually, Dylan, on that note, real quick for your stat, he made 95 threes last season. He's made 80 so far this year on 225 attempts. So he's attempted 44 less, and he's made 15 less up until this moment, which, by the way, crazy. Shai's never made 100 threes in a season. That's kind of wild.
It's changing this year, baby.
Changing this year. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. If we look at all-time true shooting percentage of players that have averaged 30 or more points per game in a season, the most efficient season ever is a 66.9 true shooting percentage from 2015-16 Steph Curry, unanimous MVP, understandable. Then it's Adrian Dantley in 83, Steph Curry again in 2021, Embiid in 2023, Adrian Dantley again, to shout to him, 84, Giannis last year, Dame in 2023, Embiid in 2024. The 9th most efficient 30-plus point per game season ever is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander this season by true shooting percentage, with a 64.2
That is nuts, man.
Yeah.
That is absolutely nuts.
So he's not just efficient. This is one of the most efficient volume scoring seasons ever.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's absolutely nuts. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it like we just absolutely like, if you're just like talking about matchups, like, you know, like we was talking about, like, you know, there's like Shai stoppers, so like, you know, you might get him for a game. Like, I could see prime Andre Robertson maybe getting Shai for a game, and then Shai will get in the lab, he'll get in the film room, he'll be like, okay, I figured you out, and then he's just gonna go tear him up. Dub would probably guard KD. You got Dort on Russ. I mean, they match up with this team phenomenally. Like, the interesting thing would be Chet on Steven Adams. Like, I think that he could hold his own against Steven Adams, but I love Steve. He's not guarding Chet. He's not guarding this version of Chet.
Yeah, the foot speed difference is just crazy. And you can even go double big if you wanted to with iHeart there, and then Chet on KD to give it more size.
cooking Enes Kanter off the bench.
Yeah, they can't even play another big. Like it's over. Roberson is just left wide open. Chet is on Roberson and roaming is what he's doing.
Yeah.
And it's just wrecking them. So
yeah,
this is the best Thunder team ever. I don't even really think it's that much of a conversation. I mean, literally by net rating, it's the second best team of all time.
Yeah.
So
true.
I don't know what we're doing here.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So Thunder present sweep.
Yep, Thunder present sweep.
We'll
give him a game. Brody will go crazy for one.
Yeah, we'll give you one. We'll give the Russell Westbrook 55 points, just out of nowhere. But yeah, we'll take that. I mean, Coleman, we've been going an hour. I know we talked about possibly doing some All-Star stuff. It's getting there. I think we could push it off another week before we start doing like All-Star predictions and stuff for us. Me and Yanni did record last week and did our All-Star predictions, but that was before the final voting tally. So might come on next week and do that. But most of what we talked about today was the game, because this is a statement. And I tweeted this out. Like, I don't know if you remember like the conversation after the Cavs Thunder game last week. Like, a lot of people were very like complimentary of the Thunder and their effort, saying like, this isn't a representation of them. This isn't like an indictment of them. They're still a phenomenal team, but the Cavs are better, or like, the Cavs made a statement, or the Cavs like, wanted to prove this to the world. Like, and I said, if it was a statement for the Cavs to beat a Thunder team without Chet Holmgren or Alex Caruso by 7 points, then what is it for the Oklahoma City Thunder without Chet or Isaiah Hartenstein to be a fully healthy Cavs by 20 points? And what is it,
belt to ass. That's what it is.
I saw somebody said a paragraph, and I died.
And it's the Cavs win was awesome, and that team is super good. Mm-hmm. I don't know where I'd go today if I had to pick between the Cavs and the Celtics, but one of them will be coming out of the Eastern Conference to face this Thunder team in the finals.
Yep.
I think when the Thunder get Chet back, we are going to reach a point where by the end of the season, people are going to look back and go, oh yeah, the Thunder were always going to win it. I think this is the year that the team has arrived. And not just that, like this team, I don't really know just like at all what you do when Chet comes back. We'll have to wait and see, what he looks like. Maybe it's a little bit of a struggle for him to begin, his return period. But assuming he comes back in like March, he's going to have like a month to ramp up for the playoffs. And in the first round, clearly we've shown it. We probably won't even need him. I don't even know if we'll need him to make it out of the Western Conference, if I'm being quite honest.
I mean, we'll have him. It's shown that we haven't. So,
yeah, but he'll be back. We'll have him. And, it's scary. Not for us.
Hours, yeah, for the league.
It's not scary for us. We're doing great. I'm having a lot of fun, but
it's happy hours for us.
Oh yeah, man, it's good.
Jubilant hours, but so no, it's gonna be a great time to watch the rest of the season, and it's also gonna be a great time for you guys to get a chance to watch this Thunder team, probably a healthy Thunder team with Chet Holmgren in tow at this point. Actually, I'm not gonna say probably, I'm gonna say definitely a healthy Thunder team. March 21st, the Oklahoma City Thunder are playing the Charlotte Hornets in Oklahoma City. You have the opportunity. You have a new opportunity to pick up tickets for that event. I will tell you, I've been telling you guys since we announced this, like, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when tickets will sell out. The lower arena, gone. Like, if you wanted to sit lower bowl, it's not happening. But we still have 2 ticket options. We have, I think, like 20-something club level seats. And shout out to our guy Cole at the Oklahoma City Thunder, the ticket rep. He opened up over 60 more Loud City tickets. Now, again, this isn't just for the game, okay? Like, you can get into the game, with Ticketmaster or whatever. But if you buy tickets with our link, you have access to the post-game experience in which we go down to the court. We take a big group photo. You can take photos with your friends, while we're waiting, while we're lining up, while you're waiting to shoot the basketball. Because after that, we're going to line up at the half-court line. We're going to take a half-court shot for the chance to win a basketball signed by the entire Oklahoma City Thunder team. And I know I'm going to be gunning for it. I know Cone's going to be gunning for it. So, like,
yeah, you're going to have to share joint custody with me and Dylan because we're both making it, I fear.
Yeah, no, it's happening. It's happening. I think I hit rim the first year. You hit rim last year.
Yeah, mine hit like the inside and kind of rolled around for a second and then popped out. It was sad. I'm gonna try and make an effort this year to, after the shot, follow it. So if I miss and I can grab my rebound, put it up and in, because still to this day, because the only 2 shots I've ever taken were the half quarters. I've never put in a bucket on an NBA court, and I need to get that done. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, we need to pull the Jerry. The first year Jerry got his rebound, then shot a 3. He airballed it, by the way. But anyways,
shoot though. He took it.
Absolutely. You want to get your tickets before it's too late, and it's going to be too late pretty soon. So go to our Twitter at OKC Top at Thunder. It is in the pinned tweet. If you scroll through it, I think it's like 5 tweets explaining what the event is. At the bottom, it has the link to the Ticketmaster where you can get your tickets. So definitely tap into that. And yeah, until next time, we will be back on Tuesday. The Thunder play a couple games. We'll have a few things to talk about by then. But until then, I hope everybody has a great night. God bless. Hoop when you can. Enjoy this Thunder victory. And as always, Thunder up!
Thunder up.
And I'm gonna
shout out Sharif in the chat. We appreciate you.
Shout out to everybody in the chat.